I would like to thank all the panel speakers that have volunteered to step forward. Our panel speakers are Sam Aparo, Managing Director of Famous Pacific from Australia. We have Ras Massoud, our General Manager of Reliance Freight Systems from the United Arab Emirates. Then we have Claire Liu, Director of Overseas Department of Shanghai Safety International from China. We have Daisy Yao, Vice President of Lucky Logistics Groups from Hong Kong. And we have Amin Altaf, Director of Servotech Limited from Pakistan. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining us here today. It's my great pleasure to have you with us as our members and of course friends since many years. If I may ask you the first question, Claire, how has COVID-19 impacted your business, the positive and negative? If you could give us your point of view.
Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be a part of this speech, Q&A sector. As a freight forwarder and NVOCC cooperation in China, being a part of global supply chain, we suffered the same as all of you. Lockdown, consumer decrease, then transport demand shrink, capacity cut by shipping lines, and congestion at depot, and the lack of manpower on the road and in the warehouse. It's all about like a bad circle. But with the pandemic impact, some small freight forwarders who only focus on one or two markets took the hardest hit. They either quit the market or seek for ally and merger. By this way, China market reshuffled a lot. However, challenge brings opportunities. The one who sees the opportunity becomes stronger. It's happening in our group too. By the end of the second quarter, we merged a Ningbo company in Ningbo Port. The second month, the performance doubled, and it's increasing day by day. Meanwhile, when the world becomes slow, we took a step down, be a thinker than an actor, because we usually act very fast, very flexible. But this time, we look back. The pandemic gave us a chance to review internal management and operation, making it further optimized and being prepared for the next battle. The last and the most profound one, business innovation. For years, our group invested in digital transformation initiatives. It didn't make any profound change. However, in the wake of pandemic, those plans has been accelerating. The paperless work procedure, telecommuting, online training, online meeting, and the cloud data sharing, this all happening. Customers are forced to accept digital information more than before. And as our staff, of course, has more motivation to adopt new tools. All those innovation made us more cost effective and create new ways of getting clients. So for us, we consider more positive samples.
Thank you, Claire, for your very valuable insight into your situation. If we may continue, Daisy, how has COVID-19 impacted your business, the good and the bad?
I think maybe we start from something negative, then turn to the positive. Always the negative first. For example, especially in recent months, the rate of exchange against the US dollar is not so stable, bringing a lot of uncertainty. This is one of the things we are suffering. And also, a very hot topic is regarding the shipping line keeps out of space supplying. This is also a tough part for us. As you may know, we are now keeping sending around almost 200, let's say 180 direct destinations, consolidations around the world. So we have more demanding on the space. And for some destinations, we were even doing weekly daily consults with 5 sailings, for example, in a week. So it's very tough to struggling to get space. This is a very hard part. We are keeping a lot of talking with overseas partners. We are trying to find ways to fire the race with, and also space protection with overseas partners. This is a hard part we are suffering recently. And of course, we also now have no business traveling, less face-to-face communication. We are forced to open like Teams, Zoom, Skype, video meetings instead of face-to-face. But also we are suffering, for example, more risks on the payment. The more partners, the more payment we are having on a monthly basis, the more challenging for us. So this is some of the negative points. But for the positive part, we also have a lot of positive points that we get. For example, since the pandemic, after, how to say, we all get back to the office working since March, slowly we picked up the volume, and even we had broken our record of the volume that we got from many cities, port of loadings, and the lucky branch offices. We already broken our past record. We had even more cargo volume. I trust it's also because we have less competitors, maybe. And also, we have more branches opened in this year. For example, we opened the Suzhou branch, we opened the Hangzhou branch, we also opened Chongqing branch. And in this way, we also have more services expanded, like our railway services also started, like from Shenzhen, Chengdu, Chongqing, step by step, we are getting the services expanded. We are consolidator, not talking about only sea freight consolidated. We are also railway services consolidate. So this is also something that we see. Besides, in this way, in this pandemic situation, we also have more chances to get more experienced staffs into our company. And we even expanded our sales team. We hired around 40 to 60 new sales into our group. So this is what we see, the new chances and something that we could expand from the market. Yeah.
Thank you, Daisy. That's very valuable information. Thank you for that. Sam, what about you? What are the positive and negative effects of COVID-19 on your business?
Niels, well, for us, like we discussed a little bit earlier before we came online, in Australia, we've been in lockdown. Well, all staff have been away from the office since the 23rd of March. So that's pretty much yesterday, 8 months. And we're still not back to the office. In Melbourne, we've been in lockdown, full lockdown for 4 months. It has been really, really hard here in Australia, even though we're seen as a lucky country. It's been really tough. One thing we've tried to do is look back to the recession back in 2009 and see what worked back then and what didn't work and what we should have done, and try and look at that as a sort of guideline for what we should try and do. No one could expect this in our lifetimes. If anyone suggested, you know, this coronavirus and what would happen around the world, people will lock you up. So we sat back and said, okay, what worked back then? It really came down to looking at areas of our competitors, as well as our customers. One thing we noticed back then in 2009 was a lot of our customers were trying to reduce costs in overheads, especially in Australia, wages are quite high. So rather than keeping the warehousing open, they would outsource it. So that's one of the factors that we looked at again now, and we got on the front foot. We're actually quite lucky here with FPS in Australia, where we're not just freight forwarders, we're not just MVOCCs. We actually own our own customs bonded warehouse, and we actually own our own trucks. So we're diversified. So we looked at using that to our advantage and focusing on the area that our customers or potential customers can look at where they need us in the crisis. And the majority of that would be with the storage, unpacking, and distribution. That side of the business absolutely went ballistic. Sure, the freight forwarding and MVOCC definitely did drop, and it still is down. But the warehousing capacity and the transport, that has probably grown about 30%. And in these times, it's actually, unusual. But the most critical point that I could say for all of us in our industries is, one, the good thing about this coronavirus, if there is anything good about it, which probably isn't, but the only positive would be it'll get rid of those cowboys in our industry, in our own countries. That is one good thing. The other thing it makes you look at, things that you never really have looked at and taken for granted. We really need to consider everything these days. Most importantly, like what I started off saying, is diversify your business. Don't just focus on one part of the industry. The more you do, the more success you will have. If one area is down, another area can actually cover for it. And to be honest, that's the most important thing that I learned back in 2009 and why I didn't panic now. And that's the only reason why I think us here in Australia, we're still around and surviving and going strong.
Thanks, Sam.
Pleasure.
Ras, how about for you in Dubai and your business? How has it affected your situation?
Hi. Yeah, of course. You can hear me?
Yes, can hear you loud and clear.
Yeah. So as everyone has a similar problem, we also face the similar, circumstances. You talk about March till now, but luckily we are in a place where, things are under control. The government took the precautions measures, so we are in a blessed space. Still we run the show. What we did in our side, in our company Reliance, if you talk about, we take this time, like say March till May, we streamline our business, we streamline our operational things, we streamline our payments and finances, so that we can pay to our agents. This is basically, we pay our agents on time, and we make sure that our remittances, payments, everything is streamlined. Luckily we got this time, for March till April, we did all this. And thereafter we look after, the market is getting open. So we are looking for the market trades and all where we can do more. We did quite well in these situations, and situation like everyone, everyone is saying, it's tough time, but we also, see where all we can do. We as a if you talk about Reliance, we are not only a LCL consolidator, we are also a freight forwarding division also. We have a logistics division also. We change ourselves into pharma also. So we look into all these aspects where all we can, do something better for us. And it is plus minus for us, both negative and positive. Yes, of course, there are tough times, we see in Dubai also, but positive sides also. Like everyone says about the space situation, and you talk about the container equipment's availability, rates are getting high. But as a LCL consolidator, if the FCL rates are high, then there are more chances of making LCL console boxes. So this is net positive side also for us.
That's right. Thank you, Ras. Amin, how about for you in Pakistan? How has the situation affected you positively and negatively? Sorry, Amin, if you could please unmute yourself. Yes, thank you.
Well, luckily, Pakistan is also one of the countries where the lockdown was quite low in number. Like the number of days were quite low. But in the beginning, it was chaos. We did not understand. We were not prepared for it. We had no idea how things will react, how customer will react. The import containers were all piling up at the port area. The customer were not ready to accept the problem in the beginning. But slowly and gradually, everybody understood the situation. And like the positive point was because we were able to start new trade lanes because the smaller players were not able to continue in the market on the longer term because we were able to add more new trade lanes. At the same time, we were able to get our company more digitalized. We are more e-commerce now, connected to IT. Our customers are accepting the new digitalization. And so again, like everybody, we had the same problems and we were able to gain the same things.
Understood. Thank you. Thank you, Amin. I would like to move on to the second question. And as we can hear already, we are all undergoing a lot of changes in our daily lives and in our business. What do you think will be the changes that will stay on after this pandemic is over? Claire, maybe you could give us your opinion.
Hi, I think many things change. Many changes will stay after the pandemic. The way we live, work, social, travel, entertain would remain changed more or less one way or another. Too many to list. I'd rather bring up some interesting points to share the bright side. Food delivery and home cooking. We got better. If we short of any materials, we can get it in China, like 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And then the return of leftovers. Those restaurants actually come to the house, take off the leftovers. And the second one is more caring on health. After this kind of pandemic, of course, everyone is going to be more focused on their health. And one change in China is that we got the doctor, the family doctor online, video, FaceTime your doctors. This is the new normal in China. And the most profound one in our office is portfolio career. That means team members can be geographically dispersed and work remotely. Even we can have some staff work on different times. Of course, when we bring up life, we have to mention entertainment and education. Here in China, we have all kinds of ways of online entertainment and online education. Online piano class, English class is also very popular. And for entertainment, we have all kinds of TikTok, whatsoever. The last one is an old story, online shopping. This is something very important to our industry. And e-commerce has been the most successful shopping mode in China for many years ago, because we have the biggest number of netizens in China. And personally, I'm a very big fan of the online shopping because I'm a mom and I'm busy, very busy at work. So I have almost zero time for myself. So online shopping is extremely time saving. But philosophic thinking, if we consider a really long term, the COVID itself changed nothing except accelerating digitalization. We let internet rushing into our life rapidly after the outbreak. Actually, it's only a matter of time we will reach there anyway. So my thinking is like, it's only rushing every future to the present.
Thank you, Daisy. So thank you, Claire. Sorry. Yes, I agree with you. Daisy, if I could have your opinion, what are the things that will stay on after this pandemic is over?
Okay, now it's okay.
Yes.
How to say? Firstly, I am changing. Before, for example, I had a lot of excuse to go to the gym. But now, since a few months ago, let's say around 5 months ago, I started to go to gym. And I'm going to gym every week, but 3 times. And at home, I still keep doing exercise. I'm spending 40 minutes to do exercise in the evening after left the office, right home. So this was never happened, was always planning, but never happened. I think after this pandemic, especially in China, our government is starting to put a lot of focus on encouraging everybody to start to do exercises. You know, Chinese is not really doing so much exercises. They prefer to work a lot than doing nothing about the exercise. But now, even I feel I'm very lazy out of the working. I'm lazy. I don't like to move. I don't like to do exercise. But now I like it very much. So this is one of the things I'm changing. But like Claire mentioned, to do online shopping in China originally it was very popular already. Now, a few days ago, I was talking with my old classmates in America. I don't know, before I think people are not so fan of buying online, for example, for the daily supplies, but they are now even starting to have everything buying online. So it's just, I think that this is changing to all of the world. So I think after this pandemic, also people still keeping, maybe in maybe short time or long time, people will try to keep more social distancing, and no touch communication will be more popular. For example, before we may prefer to always easy to have a face-to-face meeting, but maybe in some short time, I don't know when the pandemic will be gone. But before that, maybe until the vaccine comes out, people must to be used to the video communications instead of the face-to-face. Here, here gathering could be more released than a few months ago. But I don't know what will be happening in the future.
Thank you. Yes, yes.
Have to have more communication with outside. Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Ras, how about for you? What do you think will be the lasting changes that will stay on? If you could unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, I believe we more put, we all are, putting our efforts into, how to develop our business and all, like infrastructure to the warehouses or something else, but we don't put more efforts into IT and, other things. So I think so we have to be high-tech. High tech, we will put more efforts into, developing our companies or, to go towards, IT solutions and all. If you talk about fashion, there will be, the mask will be the staple now. This is very important now. This will add on our wardrobes also. So this is one of the industry it will survive for, I'm sure, for coming few years. Then hygiene products. So these are the things, it will last, impact on our business also. So it will be added benefit for us. These are not the products which is moving quite well before. But in coming few years, these are the things which will be added on, on our business, and we have to carry all these things.
That's right. Yeah, thank you. How about you for Sam? If you could please unmute yourself. Yes, sorry.
Yeah. Sorry, Niels. To be honest, Claire made a few really good points about the technology for a lot of us companies that we really haven't invested in the past, which we all now realize that we need to in the future. That is probably one of the biggest things that we've all had to open up our eyes and see what did we have in place and what do we really need in place, because a lot of our staff have been working from home. The internet, the security and so on. They're really big factors as businesses that we really need to take into account moving forward. But apart from the point that Claire mentioned on the technology, I also believe, travel. We're all here on a Zoom meeting. Who would ever have imagined that we would be here on a Zoom meeting? We would have all loved to, see each other face to face and hug each other, shake hands and whatever. But this is probably going to be the norm for a lot of meetings, a lot of travels that we would normally do. Rather than travel by plane, we would have Zoom meetings. And that's probably one of the new norms that is going to be going forward. And we all have to accept that. And again, it goes back to Claire's point on technology. We all have to adapt, acknowledge, and accept on the way we're all doing this. And the last part that I've found is, I mentioned earlier in the first point, we've all been away from the office for 8 months, except for the warehouse drivers and essential staff members. But staff in Australia, I'll only comment on, 8 months been away from the office. I asked the question, when we are allowed to get back to the office, would you like to come back straight away because of mental health being? And the response was actually 3/4 no, which we need to now look at on staff probably working from home rather than working from the office. But it's, social wise, it doesn't really matter. Communication within the office is very important, which will affect that. So there's positives and negatives. But then the effects on the industries, on the CBD, for example, rentals, it's going to have a really big effect on the economy long term. So it's something that is achievable, is something that we all need to probably look at, because, staff, we need to try and keep happy. But it's something that we never really thought that could happen in working from home.
That's right. Yeah. Thanks, Sam, for your input there. I mean, how about for you? What are the lasting changes that will stay on after this is over?
Unmute.
Sorry, I mean, yeah.
Yep. All right, according to me, something which is going to stay is, of course, the digitalization. Everything is going on IT, like we are on the virtual conference, and we'll be more specific on the self-healthcare. We are more concerned than before on it. At the same time, we are more concerned on the overall hygiene level, on where we are, what we are doing. So this is going to stay, and also we are now used to spend more time with our family, with our loved ones. So this is something which we will definitely value more after the pandemic.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one. I mean, that's clear. I mean, if anything, it has shown us then there are certain values that we've been reminded that are important, and one of those is spending time with loved ones more, and working from home can be done, can be achieved. There are a lot of inconveniences that this has brought us, but also it has brought us back a certain realization that there are more important things in life than just work. You can combine work with family. Things can be done a little easier. You don't necessarily have to travel that business trip, you know, can be saved maybe, you know, instead of traveling 10 times a year, you can travel 5 times a year. A lot of these changes, I also believe will stay on going forward. Okay, now to our very last question. And this is just a little bit of a crystal ball type of thing. If you can give me your prediction as to when this will be over and when will your economy recover to pre-pandemic times. Claire, how about you? What is your future prediction?
I actually, my major is economy at university, but this is a very complicated question. One will, just to share a few thoughts, which may not be entirely right. Any country, including China, local economy goes with the world economy at great extent. Nowadays, we live in a high level of globalization. Our economy won't be back to the top of the game unless the world economy recovered fully. This is my humble opinion. However, we witnessed some breakthroughs here in China owing to the most severe lockdown in first quarter. Many people say it's not human, but it's working. And the domestic market demand spring back in the second quarter. China and many Asia countries got regional success. The whole market become more and more dynamic from the third quarter. So take our industry, for instance, shipping demands rocket, freaking high freight day by day, not week by week, day by day. Lack of equipment and vessel space shortfall. This is all the new normal in China. We take this phenomenon as a sign of the economy rebound. And I think the Q&A section is almost over. I would like to give some words to friends who are suffering the second outbreak. The situation is serious, but not so desperate. There is no need to be desperate. Enjoy the beauty of nature. The sunrise, seeing birds, be astonished and enjoy, smile. Hopefully one day we can be able to travel again. Then we can meet up, have a toast, and laugh about all those dark days we went through together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Claire. Indeed. Raz, how about you? When do you think everything will go back to normal as before? I know it's very...
question, and no one has the right answer.
That's right.
Question, no one has the right answer. We all are waiting for the vaccine. All are, as I and rest of the world, you know, we all are waiting for the vaccines. But I hope so. It will take, you know, minimum a year, you know, here I'm talking about, because Dubai is limited, you know, scope and all. We are dependent on rest of the world, you know, it's a transshipment hub. So we hope so. Next year, second half, you know, could be the possibility that we reach somewhere closer.
Okay, thank you. Sam, when is your best guess?
Normal? You mean the new normal or the old normal?
Well, yeah, that's more like the old normal. When will things recover back to pre-pandemic times?
Niels, that's the thing. I don't actually think we will ever get back to those times. And that's why I just mentioned that to start with. We all have to accept this has changed our lives, not just our lives, the next generation as well. We need to accept where we are. It will get better, but it's not going to be what we had before. We are going to have to make some sacrifices that we just took for granted previously. Now this is a different scenario. We've got a different challenge. Everyone has got different challenges. And like I mentioned before, no one could ever have predicted what we have gone through and what we will go through. So when we say get back to normal, the economy, the way I look at it is, and I can only speak on behalf of us in Australia in talking to my bank managers and so on, it's actually going to get worse before it gets better. Talking to the people that I guess Claire mentioned, she went to university in economics. They're the people that you need to try and rely on and trust and see what they say. And the people that I'm talking to in that field in the banks, they're actually saying in Australia, we have not even seen the worst of it. The worst of it is not going to hit until probably September next year. The government is actually propping up, and not just in Australia, in a lot of countries, propping up our industries, our economy. Once they ease off, that's when the real, I guess, debacle for all our nations are going to happen. And then it'll take 2 or 3 years to sort of get to some sort of normality, the new norm. So to me, it's going to be a good 3-4 years before we can see getting back to stabilized, not even normal.
Thank you. Thanks for your input there, Sam. Yes, indeed. I mean, we have a lot of economic challenges ahead of us with all the government supports that have been happening in all the countries, as you're saying. There is a financial crisis probably looming, which we're not yet quite aware of, which could happen. We hope not, and we hope that we're going to get through this. I mean, we will get through this, of course, but just a matter of how long, when, and where, that's something that we don't know, of course. Daisy, what is your opinion here? If you could unmute yourself, please.
I think we have no option already. We should wait for the vaccine that could change a little bit our life. I think everybody is facing the challenge of it. Now I see the second waving seems come again. So it's a very difficult time for sure. And everybody firstly should take good care of ourselves. And the good thing I could see, it seems even some of the countries, our partners, they have maybe 50, even 70% people are working remotely, but the business still running, if talking about the business. But also, unfortunately, some of our friends even got positive. So I wish everybody, all of the friends, could take care of ourselves firstly and wait for the life get back to the normal. So this is what we are expecting. Hopefully the vaccine will be developed soon to save us.
Thank you, Daisy. How about Amin? Amin, last one.
So, yeah. Well, I agree with Sam. I don't think so. We are going back to the pre-pandemic. It has to be a new normal. It has to be like everything has to change. And it has changed a lot already. Like being in the virtual conference or within the network again. But when you talk about like the economics, interestingly, I'm in a country where Corona has been a miracle in disguise. We have already grown with our number of exports. Things have changed. It's more like everything which was slow is on a faster mode than pre-pandemic. But again, to get things stable, like to get the new normal, I guess we need at least 2 years.
Okay, yeah, I agree. A lot of challenges ahead of us, but I'm sure that we can go through these challenges all together. Most importantly is that we're all here and support one another. Thank you to all the panel speakers for your time and your thoughts on this. It's been a pleasure talking with you.